Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Kentucky Derby qualifying points on the line at Aqueduct on Saturday. Race number 9 is the Grade 3 Withers. 3-year-olds going a demanding mile and an eighth for $250,000. 9 entered. Brad Cox has the favorite with the number 3 Light Line. Never off the board from 3 lifetime starts. A horse that fell far behind last time out at Oaklawn with a short stretch, but is bred for and acts like a mile and an eighth is no problem.
I think that's true, and they've done nothing but route this horse since his career debut, Dan. So I think they feel like he's a distance kind of a horse. I don't know. I mean, his 3 races to start his career, they're fine as far as I can tell. I don't think he's any kind of standout in here to be 8-5.
Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector and see where Lightline is. He's right there in the middle with El Grande O, the pace-setting runner-up of the Jerome, going a one-turn mile earlier this year, expected to make the pace. It'll be interesting to see if the pace is fast. There are a couple of other horses with tactical speed, most notably the 5, Seminole Chief, who should be fresh off the layoff.
Yeah, they used his speed last time. He got involved early and it sort of worked out for them. I'm not sure, that he's a blazer early. I just sort of felt like the 4 El Grande would be on the lead in here. We'll see how fast they make him go, and then we'll see how far he wants to go.
If the pace is fast, keep an eye on the 6, will be a big price. That's Society Man. Note the LP designation over his chiclet. That indicates he has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. Todd Pletcher, represented with the number 1 speed runner, 3rd in his debut sprinting, stretched out to a mile and an eighth, really liked it. Good trip, sat up close to a moderate pace, grinds it out to win. This horse is bred to get better with maturity and distance, Mike. He's a half to brilliant speed, who was 3rd in the Belmont and 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Turf.
Yeah, exactly. There's tons of distance in this pedigree. The second dam's is such a touch gold. So it's all distance in here, and he really took a step forward in his second career start, going this distance on this track. He's got a great post on the inside here, and he showed much improved speed last time too. That he was right up on the pace from the start. I mean, this sort. I don't know if you're going to get the 5-1 morning line. To me, that's a great price on him in here. I think he fits right in.
The number 2 is Deposition, going out for Uriah St. Louis, adding blinkers. His last victory was 2 starts back. He won around 2 turns at Parks in sort of a weaker maiden race, did not run very well last time out in the heft, but that was a race that was controlled on the front end. This is a horse that just has to do better from a speed figure standpoint. He's stepping way up in class and distance.
Yeah, cutting back didn't help him at all last time, but the maiden went around 2 turns, 2 back. If he runs that race back in here, it probably gets him nothing anyway. We'll see how big of a step forward he can take, Dan. If nothing else, this trainer has been known to pull off an upset or 2.
How good is Lightline? We'll find out on Saturday. His lone victory came at Horseshoe, Indianapolis, but he won that race by a country mile with a very competitive figure. Second in both starts since, including this race at Oaklawn, where he fell far behind Carbone, who's undefeated and running in the Southwest at Oaklawn on Saturday. He comes with a good run. The 4th place finisher came back to win a 2 life with a 79 buyer. In some ways, he's the horse to beat, Mike, even though he came up a little bit short here because, again, with his running style, with his pedigree, and with his speed figures, he fits.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it's just a really good spot for him. I mean, I don't know that I would go, crazy over his first 3 races so far, but maybe it's just the right spot there. And he did run okay last time. I mean, I like the change of tactics anyway. They just sort of took him back to last. The flip side of that is that pace was really fast, so he had plenty to run at in there. And you just saw in the replay. I mean, you could make your own judgments, obviously, but he was never getting to that horse on the lead in there. Carbone was a really, really nice horse. I don't know. His form to me is okay. I can't say that I would love to take sub 2-1 on him in here.
How far does the New York bred El Grande O want to go? He's going to be stretching out around 2 turns for the first time after 3 consecutive 1-turn mile events. This was the Jerome last time out, and the ground sort of broke away from him at the start. He didn't have the greatest beginning, but he soon made the lead. He put away Canet, who is sitting in 3rd right now, but he's no match for the winner. I didn't really see much of an excuse. The horse that beat him was just better than he was, but I think he can get the lead. And if he stays a mile and an eighth and they give him a breather, he has figures which indicate he can be competitive.
Yeah, the distance is the real question for this horse. We'll just see how far he wants to go in this race. The Jerome last time, the fractions don't look fast, but he was taking pressure on the lead. It's not like he was loose and had everything his own way. I thought he ran fine. He looks a lot like the horse Linda Rice ran in this race last year, if you remember. Dan, Arctic Air against the New York bred, really fast, felt like a sprinter, but had run well enough when she tried to stretch him out to a mile that she gave him a shot in this race. And he ran second and he ran fine. I don't know if this horse is as good as that one, but he just might be all alone on the early lead in this race, and that alone makes him dangerous.
The number 5 Seminole Chief passed the two-turn test in his final start as a 2-year-old. This race, first-time blinkers in the rich in reality division of the Florida Stallion Stakes, and he's in between horses and pushing sort of a solid pace all the way around, and he's very, very game to win.
Yeah, very, very game to win. He just digs in here and he turns away the heavy favorite through the stretch. The runner-up's going to come way too late down the outside here. This horse, he earned this win, Dan. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He went after it early. He fought the entire way. He got the job done. It was a good performance. I think he has to run better than that in this spot.
I think the Six Society man has some promise down the road for Danny Gargan. I do wonder if this is a bit too much too soon for a third start maiden. He was very cold on the board early in the Saratoga meet sprinting, didn't show much speed, ran on a little bit at the end to pass a couple of tired horses, but then he came back second time out. He was in against Speedrunner. The pace was to Speedrunner's advantage. I think you wanted to be up close considering those fractions, and all, he did well to be third.
I saw all the same things it sounds like you did, Dan. I mean, he didn't run a terrific race last time, but he didn't run a poor one, and he certainly improved with the added distance. You know, I thought it was a little surprising that this was the next spot that Gargan picked out for him, but maybe that just is a sign of real confidence for this horse. It does feel like distance is his friend.
Mission Beach, the number 7, began his career for Bob Baffert out in Southern California, was transferred over to Brittany Russell. Here's the first start for Brittany, going 3/4 of a mile. And Brittany told me after this race that the plan was to teach this horse how to rate. Sheldon Russell took him to the back of the pack where he had been showing speed in his first 3 starts for Baffert, and he just basically wins this race very easily with a good closer's trip.
Yeah, I mean, the trip really works out for him from the back of the pack, but you could see it right from the start of that race, Dan. They were intent on rating this horse. They sat off it. He got a good trip. I liked the way he finished it. We'll see if he can move forward one more time. I don't think that's impossible. I didn't like his first 3 starts at all. And so I'm kind of against him in this spot, but I won't be surprised if he runs well.
Brittany could have run him last week in a stakes race down at Laurel where he was entered sprinting, decides to go here. I wonder if the track condition had something to do with that. That track at Laurel was very, very wet. She does feel this horse is a 2-turn horse. Uncle Heavy is certainly a 2-turn horse. He's won 2 of 3 lifetime starts and has only lost the Pennsylvania Nurseries just a complete throwout because he missed the break. Here's his most recent start, 2-turn debut, the Wait for It. And while he didn't break very well in this race, he broke a lot better. He was wide on the backstretch, alters course down to the rail, gets his education, and then goes by this leader.
I like the run that he puts in here, Dan. This horse was 4 wide on the first turn. He was wide at the backstretch. He was 4 wide on the second turn. This horse that he's running down here had a clear lead at the top of the stretch, and Uncle Heavy just comes and gets him here. I like this performance. I like how professional he is. His career debut, he showed that as well, where he just got free at the right time, and that's dueled down a 1-5 favorite on a clear lead that day. I mean, this horse, I think, has some talent. He's certainly moving up in class for this. I'm not so sure that he's in over a set against this field.
But he goes out for one of the great trainers in the Mid-Atlantic area, Butch Reed, who's had a lot of success in New York over the years. Canate's the number 9 for Todd Pletcher. This was the guy that put the heat on El Grande O and the Jerome. He made a good, strong move after that horse on the second turn, but he was turned away. And now from this outside post position against a tougher field, I'm not sure how he was supposed to turn the tables.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. I mean, I didn't like his Jerome. The flip side of that is I liked his allowance effort 2 back at Churchill, where he was involved on a really competitive pace before he got tired. And I liked his maiden win at Keeley when they went back to dirt with them, where he showed much improved speed that day and blew a field out. Listen, he's 15-1 on the morning line. I could certainly give him a chance to rebound.
And he certainly could be a pace presence. I would expect Eric Cancel to just try to leave out of there running from the outside post and try not to lose too much ground going into the first turn. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Withers. You're going with Uncle Heavy, a horse that gained a lot of experience last time out over a testing track. I talked to Butch after that race. He said the longer the better.
Yeah, I like all 3 of his races, Dan. I like how professional he is. And I like the fact that if this pace does get fast, like the pace projector thinks, I don't think that's going to affect this horse at all. Again, he's going to be a good price in here, and I'm not sure that he's overmatched.
I think you made a very good comparison to Arctic Arrogance, and it's one that worries me a bit with El Grande O concerning his distance ability. I think he's going to get to the front in here, and we'll see if they're able to back down the fractions. I think Lightline deserves respect, but I'm not sure I want to play him at something to 5 or so in a field that looks fairly competitive. 8139 for Mike, 4317 for me. Grade 3 Withers. Big A on Saturday with Derby points on the line. Good luck.